everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Michelle from the York Public Library, and today I have my very good friend Heidi joining us. We were planning on making pasta together. I was going to show you how to make pasta, and I said, hey, would you mind if I videotaped you and we put it on our website? And you were?
I agreed.
She agreed, and so we're going to make some homemade macaroni today. It's my mom's recipe, my grandmother's recipe. And so are you excited? Do you eat a lot of pasta?
I love pasta. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I've never made pasta before, so this will be a first for me.
And it's very easy, and it's I think intimidating, but once you start cooking and start making the dough, it's therapeutic. I probably cook pasta once a month, and I freeze it enough for my family to eat, and yeah, I enjoy making the dough. So we're going to start making some homemade macaroni. Okay. So you only need a few ingredients to make homemade macaroni. I used good flour, King Arthur unbleached flour, some salt, and eggs. I took these out about an hour ago because you want them room temperature. My grandmother used olive oil in hers, so I do use a little bit of olive oil, but you don't have to. And then I'll add a little bit of a little bit of water too. So I'm gonna start with I only use this for making pasta, and I've got a second board here for you, Heidi. But you put your, I'm gonna use about a little over 2 cups of flour. And then I've cut the salt down. My mom and grandmother used to use more salt, but I use about 2 teaspoons. And then I'm gonna mix this together. And I washed my hands, and I'm going to make a well. See the well there?
Okay.
And we're gonna do 3 eggs. Freshest eggs that you can get. And we're gonna drop these into our well. We don't want them to go out. And then we're gonna just slowly start to mix the eggs together. And you don't want them to go over the well, or you will have a mess.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of olive oil, and then just a little bit of water. Eggshell.
So like a half an eggshell?
Yeah. And then we're just gonna slowly start incorporating it. Trying not to let it go over like I just did. And this will take a little bit of time. You wanna make sure you mix it in nice. And this is probably the most important part, is when you finally do get a nice mound stuck together, you really are going to want to knead it for quite a while. You could definitely do this with a food processor, which I don't have one, but you could. I also sometimes, if I'm in a hurry, I'll put this in my KitchenAid on the with the hook and let it just get a little bit more incorporated, and then
would you do that at this phase?
Right here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna do a little bit more. So yeah, my grandmother taught me when I was 16. I have a picture of me standing there trying to be interested. And I wish I had paid more attention.
Aww.
But I did cook with her over the years, and then when I made dinner for my boyfriend, who became my husband, I was on the phone with her quite a bit. I do have those memories, but the day she taught me how to make it, I really wasn't interested in learning. But I inherited my mom's pasta machine, which we'll be using after we're done here. So if you look, you can see you want it to be all mixed. It really looks good. There's nothing real. And we'll leave this for 30 minutes to rest. All right, Heidi's
Oh,
get
you're gonna
her.
film me now?
I'm gonna film a little bit.
Okay. Should I do my watch
You
on?
should probably take the watch off, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the water's in, so now you don't want it to spill over. So you're
Okay,
just
so
gonna want to
start kind of
slowly
incorporating
a little bit off the sides. Yeah. All right, so Heidi's is looking pretty good. Let's put it in the, we can put it in the mixer and put it on the hook and see how well it incorporates it for you. Kind of takes a couple of these little steps, and that way then you can just knead it. And we'll put that back on and let it get a little bit
Just
more.
on the low, on the low.
Yeah, on the low. Yep. For those of you that don't have a pasta machine like this, good news. The York Public Library is now going to offer one that you can check out. And it's really easy to clean. It's just, you brush it with some flour. You don't actually put this in the water. So we adhere it to the counter. Okay. Mine is pretty old. I think this was my grandmother's, so I've got this neat old hand wheel here. And if you look here, it's got all the numbers on it. So we're gonna start at 1, and we're gonna flatten it all the way to 6. This one I think goes to 7, but that's too thin. Okay, so what I do is I'm gonna cut this in half, and then cut it in 4ths, and I'm just gonna keep that covered. And I'm gonna start rolling it. Now, at the 1, I could actually do this a few times. And then I probably will start going to 2. So I'm gonna use a little bit of flour. Go to 2. Quiet. Most library people know about Owen. Okay, at 4. This was a great thing to do with my kids when they were little.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fun. All right, now I'm at 6.
Wow, look at that. Really stretches out.
Yeah. And then I'm going to put this over here. Some flour. And let that just wait until I'm ready for the next one. And then do it again. So, like I said, if you don't have a pasta machine and you need to cut your pasta out, you can do it by hand with a rolling pin. You just have to make sure it's even.
Okay.
And then to cut it by hand, you roll it. My grandmother used to roll it. I mean, it depends on what kind of shape. If you want to make, we call them cavadillos. People call them cavatelli. They're these little pasta you do with your thumbs. I make ravioli, anything too fancy. This is just, if you make pasta a lot like I do, I make it once a month, maybe twice a month depending. pretty handy. All right, so after you make your pasta, you can dry it. What I do is I freeze it, and I put it in this box that my mom told me to save. And you see I've got some little nests here, and it's like this is one serving for one person, so it's easy to do. If I've got 4 people, I've got enough, or my husband and I, maybe we'll do 3. So this is how I save my pasta.
So you freeze it right in the box?
I freeze it like right there. So when we cut when all the pasta's cut, I'll put them in here, layer it, put in the freezer. Now you can dry it. My grandmother would dry it. She had a drying rack. She had a special pasta drying rack. But this will be 1 serving.
Look at that.
And then I bring it over here. We put a little bit of salt in a pot of water. We're not cooking that much pasta, so but I want a big enough pot. I guess we'll do the 4. And we're gonna cook it for, well, you're gonna check it. You want it to come to a full boil, and then maybe like 3 minutes. I mean, this pasta does not take long because it's homemade and it's small. So bigger pasta, longer, but so we're gonna let that boil. I'm gonna put the lid on it. Excuse me. Put a spoon here and just get it to a boil. Now, believe it or not, my husband made this sauce this weekend. He took from tomatoes from my garden. So Heidi and I are gonna have some pasta that I had made, and with some sauce. So stay tuned. So we've got our sauce on our homemade spaghetti, and you got to use freshly grated Parmesan. And come on.
Di te primo amor, di te grande amor, risento I primi baci trepidi e le tue parole semplici rivivono